Guys, it is finally here. After years of questioning whether Ready or Not would even come out, it's now listed on Steam for $40 in early access, which is a lot more reasonable than the $120 that you previously had to pay to play. So, Ready or Not, as usual, I'm going to start by talking about what the game even is for those of you who aren't really in the loop, and I'm going to get to the pros and the cons before finally getting to my overall opinion on the game and whether or not it's actually worth buying. Alright, so first off, yes, this game is very similar to Zero Hour and Ground Branch, but not in a copycat way. They're just the same genre, so we're going to be making a comparison video for that next week. Stay tuned. And also, guys, I do have to put this out there. Make sure to keep in mind that this game just came out of its alpha and is barely moved into beta, so there's a very good chance that a lot of what I'm talking about is going to change. Remember that. Anywho, with all that out of the way, what is Ready or Not? Well, it isn't a hide-and-seek game, as the title suggests. Well, actually, now that I think about it, it kind of is, but not the kind that you're thinking of. In Ready or Not, you're a member of a SWAT team tasked with clearing out a variety of maps under a variety of different circumstances, and with a variety of tools at your disposal. That's a lot of variety. You can do this in either single player or multiplayer. In single player, you command 4 other squad members, but in multiplayer, it's just you and your teammate or teammates working together. There is not a PvP game mode. A typical match of Ready or Not consists of the preparation in the lobby, where you can change your loadout and select the missions, and then a ton of strategic planning and intense clearing as you make your way through the map, trying to save hostages, disarming traps, collecting evidence, and neutralizing enemies. At the end of the missions, you're given a score to represent how well you and your team did, and then you're sent on your merry way. So yeah, it's a CQB SWAT team game. It plays how you would expect. It's very similar to the other CQB shooters out there, which, like I said, will be compared next week. But the quality of this game is really what takes it above and beyond. Everything is executed and polished really well for a game that just came out of its alpha. I was genuinely shocked by how well it played and how fun the gameplay was. Ready or Not has a lot going for it already, and it's possibly the most immersive CQB tactical shooter I've played ever. The first and most notable pro is the visuals. They are fantastic for a CQB game, like genuinely fantastic. The lighting looks great and really helps set the atmosphere. Like, it looks like a CQB game that was made in 2021, actually probably 2022 when this video comes out. And all of this really helps set the atmosphere to get you immersed in the game. The gun models are well made, the faces are a little bit derpy, but that's fine, and the effects are really cool, like the heat you can see coming off of the weapons after they've been fired. There's also the smoke trailing fragments of grenades, the embers from explosions, and a whole lot of dust. Basically, every effect in this game shows a ton of effort by the developers. Except the taser effect. I think it's a little bit too sparkly for realism purposes, but you know what? Look at the taser strings, those look pretty cool. And we can't talk about the visuals without also mentioning the game's stellar audio work. Oh my goodness, guys, everything in this game sounds so good. The footsteps, the guns, the explosions, and even the commands.
Arrest him.
To me, great sounds really helps make or break the immersive experience. Like, especially the footsteps. It's really, really cool being able to hear muffled shuffling above you or behind doors, which isn't really a groundbreaking feature, but something that definitely adds to the experience. Plus, suppressors don't make your gun sound like a pea shooter in this game, which is really nice since that's just not how suppressors work in real life. I don't know where the video gaming industry got the idea that a suppressed gun is a pea shooter. It's not true. I also absolutely have to talk about the AI that Void Interactive has in their game. It really is what makes this game so much fun to play, because they behave threateningly and unexpectedly, which makes the game feel very stressful, especially since you have rules of engagement, which basically means you can't just go shooting everyone unless they're a real threat. And sometimes it really is hard to tell. Sure, some people have the classic ski mask, bad guy look, but they surrender pretty often, while someone you were sure was a civilian pulls a Tech-9 out of their back pocket and shoots you. I was also pretty surprised to see that the enemies will fire at you through doors if you're making noise on the other side. And keep in mind that that's just the enemy AI. Like I said, in single player, you get to command your own little AI squad, and honestly, they work way better than I expected. Sure, they can be a little finicky and clunky and slow to control, but with practice, I actually got them to operate pretty smoothly. Plus, it's always fun to watch them shotgun breach towards their certain doom. There's also a feature where you can command them in separate teams so that you can have your team doing multiple tasks at once, like putting 2 guys on a breaching door while the other 2 cover your back. Hats off to the devs for the work they've put into the AI, it really shows. The flow of the game is also one of my favorite parts since it's really slow and methodical, which is exactly what I look for in a CQB tactical shooter. Enemy and trap placement changes every match, so you always have to be on your toes using the mirror gun to check every little room for traps and enemies before you push in, or else you're probably gonna get shot in the head or explode. In addition to that, you also need to decide how hard to push. Are you just gonna open it and clear it? Are you gonna use a flashbang, a C2 charge, maybe even a stinger, or you could just go full deadly force? The choice is up to you and how you want to proceed. And to get a high score, there's a lot to remember. You need to cuff or kill everyone, even though I think cuffing is the preferable option for civilians. You need to gather every weapon. You need to report every cuffing or killing, even of your own team members. And sometimes you have to collect evidence like this pink meth. And also, you need to capture a certain amount of hostiles at times. It doesn't sound too hard now, but when your team is dropping like flies around you and you can't even tell who's shooting you, it's pretty easy to forget these minute details. The gameplay just does a great job of leaving the strategy up to you and not holding your hand through it. There really isn't a right way to complete a mission. It's all what you decide to do. You're even given a few non-lethal options if that's your style. Who says you can't take out loads of armed combatants with beanbag shotguns and tasers? Basically, the game is just really well made so far. It looks great, it plays great, and it sounds great, not to mention the AI being an absolute treat to fight in the amazingly well-designed maps. Ready or Not already has the bones to be one of, if not the best CQB shooter of all time. The only issues I have right now are simply due to how early of a build Ready or Not is currently in, which makes sense, but does need to be addressed if you're going to be spending your money on it. And yes, now unfortunately we are on the cons. The main downside is just the lack of content in Ready or Not. Again, it's very early in development, so this is no surprise, but currently there are only 6 finished maps. Cherriessa Farm, Port Hoken, Caesar's Car Dealership, 213 Park Homes, 4U Gas Station, and the Wenderley Hills Hotel. And while they do offer a lot of replayability since there are different scenarios that provide different challenges like active shooter and bomb threat, it really would be nice to see more maps added in the future, which I'm sure there will be. There are also currently only 12 primary weapons and 7 secondaries. It's enough, but again, it would be nice to see more in there, especially in the attachments and gear category since they're a little bit bare bones at the moment. Again, I'm sure that there will be more added in the future. This is just a review of the game now, so I'm telling you guys like it is. Also, I can't make this video without mentioning some of the civilian voice lines. They can get pretty annoying pretty quickly since they repeat quite often and aren't really the best voice lines in the first place. The ones where they try to hit on me are particularly immersion breaking and repetitive, but that's a pretty minor and easy to fix detail. I just had a rant about it. Like seriously, listen to this.
You look like the guys in the movies.
This is Todd.
Guns.
Roger.
What kind of a voice line is that? But overall, Ready or Not was a very pleasant surprise to me, like I said before. I think the game is coming along great, and it's one of the best CQB shooters I've honestly ever played. So yeah, it's time to answer the big question, is Ready or Not worth the $40? Let's get a drum roll for this. And the answer is sort of. To me and a lot of you watching, I think it definitely will be. It's an awesome CQB shooter, and $40 isn't too bad if you're really in love with the genre and want to be a part of what could be the next big thing. Just be aware that the game could get pretty boring after a while with what we currently have. It's fairly obvious that it's not a finished game, but with time, I think it really has a chance to be a really, really great CQB FPS. And if you're still not even convinced that this genre is for you, or you just want to try something out that's pretty similar but a lot cheaper, don't tell anyone I'm telling you this, but try out 0 Hour. I have a link to a video up here somewhere. It's pretty good and it'll get you warmed up. Anyways, guys, thank you so much for watching. If you thought the video was helpful, be sure to leave a like and a subscribe. I really appreciate it, and it'll keep you updated for next week's video, which is going to be 0 Hour versus Ground Branch versus Ready or Not. I'm sure there's a few of you that are wondering about that. Anyways, I'll see you guys next week. Stay safe and have a good one. It's been great being back.